You got to do what you got to do every day when things are not at their optimum. Which, okay, that's part of the practice. It's like yoga, right? Okay. So this is done now. Or no, this is the done one. Sorry, because the last finishing thing that I do is like running through some photo tweaks that basically whatever automatic brightening and contrasting that any Photoshop program would have. And there you are. So this is this, and it turned out good. Perfect. Hard to say. Hard to know. Hard to know what perfect is, but definitely hit all the right things. It started passing the squint test. That's the most important thing. If you can squint at it and it still looks amazing, then it's looking good. So now we're on to the next one, and we're barely started, but this is gonna be one that I really am hoping ends up looking really cool. Barely started on this one. Barely. Barely started. Well, these are I mean, the hard work is always in the rough sketch, you know? And then when the inking, and then, you know, the base colors, and then it's treated, you know, so it gets dark, and then I started lighting it. You know, so we've got a little bit of the blue ambient light on Link. Now we need to get blue ambient light everywhere else. But one thing I'm going to do is bring in the reference image. You still can't do a rough sketch. I mean, it's super tough unless you've got a, like a crazy, like, Iron Chef type deadline. No, I think just like shrink draw like a tiny box, like postage stamp size, and focus on making like that look amazing. That's the idea. Alright, let me find here. Socials, streams. And today's a weird day. So I got back yesterday. I can just say I was in Hawaii for 5 days celebrating several things. My son turned 5. My wife and I's anniversary of 12 years or something. It's a long time. And we've been together for like 3 years before that, so it's a long time. And then my daughter had a very good checkup at the doctor, so obviously that's extremely important. So we're very happy about that. And now what we do is, so we were in a mood to have a big celebration, so we went to Hawaii. Hawaii is maybe I could show a small picture or two. It's not like a huge thing to post a little bit of, like, like it was like quintessential Hawaii. Like I took this from the hotel lobby as we were leaving. You know, that's like, okay, that's Hawaii. You're in Hawaii. I don't know if it's like real Hawaii, but it was really expensive Hawaii is what it was. So today I'm booked. Yeah, that's the view from the lobby. That's like a fraction of what's there. It's like several pools, several restaurants, burgers that start at like $30 and stuff like that. So no matter what, a meal for 4 people is like $200 or something like that. You got good books up there. Good job, buddy. So this is one of those times where I'm like, okay, sometimes the family situation just means you got to splurge, make some solid memories. Okay, what I'm trying to do right now is set up the... We need that, we need that thumbnail. Manhandla. There it is. Okay. Do this the cheap and easy way. Okay. Today I'm theoretically booked, but it's for that car commercial again. So those clients are in London. They're like, "You're around today, right?" And I'm like, "Yep." And they're like, "Okay, notes are coming." That was 2 hours ago. And I've yet to see a note. So we don't sit around waiting for notes. We do this instead. This is something productive. Okay, so this is the... Oh, that's what sucks. Okay, now that kind of makes sense. The resolution of my screen does not match the output resolution here. What's happening with that? Okay. Oh, I get it. Hold on. So that should work now. Okay. Yeah, disaster stream for sure. Okay. So like here, you know, even if it's so small that you can't even make out what you're looking at, you can still tell that something cool is happening, right? Just like shrink it down so much, it still looks cool. You know, that's the goal for a thumbnail. It's just sort of like having an interesting organization of values. Okay. Alright, like I said, I haven't picked up a stylus in like 5 days. I guess that's not true. I came in last night and I had a client that needed like 4 frames, so I did them last night. So I still got it, but I'm jet lagged and I'm not necessarily primed to do this yet. What I'm even less interested in doing is actually doing some real work. So this will be fun. This will be a fun distraction. I want to do something while I can to have fun. So let's see. Okay, so if we do our eyedropper tool and we compare how we set things up last time, where the base color of Link's tunic transferring to the brighter color sort of moves about that far. That gives me an indication of how I might have been arranging my how I was thinking about the brightness of the light when I did it before. Here we've got the color flat master. Nuzukara, hey, how are you? I just got back from Hawaii. So I've been away a bit. I'm good. I'm a little too well rested. A little too well rested from travels. Yes, doing a multifactorial celebration. It's a good time to get away. And then this is going to be one of those... This is going to be one of those weird weeks where it's like a holiday. In the United States, at least, it is a Thanksgiving week, which means my kids don't have school. And a lot of work wouldn't normally be happening. But then, of course, work is always happening, so...
Wait, also be a library? Can I also, like,
So today I'm theoretically working, yet the director is being very late getting me notes, and it just makes sense to do this now. I was forced to practice traditionally on my sketchbook when I had to travel back home as well. I'm still in conflict with my wife about the idea of so this is a challenge for me because I really love like traveling and sketching. Like if I'm gonna travel, like travel gives me a lot of anxiety, so I'd be like, okay, well I'd like to sketch. That would be a normal thing for me to do, would be to bring my sketchbook and, you know, do what I like doing while I'm on vacation. Like that sounds like the best of both worlds. But my wife sees me doing art as something that good for me, but not good for everybody else. Like it's like me escaping from a social obligation. And she's not entirely wrong about that, but it doesn't help me to have that kind of judgment about you know, it's like, hey, you know, it's helpful for me to be able to pay the bills, right? And you know, part of that is retaining skill and staying sharp and all that. I definitely don't get. I get the support that I need, but not the support that I want from my wife, which is sort of funny. Because if anything, I do need to be broken out of my shell, and you know, she's the one. It's like, you know, like stop daydreaming, get in the water with your family in Hawaii. Stop avoiding, you know, stop it. Like she is not a workaholic, whereas I very much am. You know, there's just truth to it. It's true that, like, you know, left to my own thing, I probably wouldn't leave the house much. I would work all the time, but would that be better for me? That wouldn't necessarily be the truth. There's more to life than you know, than being in your room and thinking about cool stuff to draw. A whole real experience, and yeah, it's exactly right. It's like an actually having a story to tell, and having real experiences, and allowing that for my children too. But it's also sort of like anything else. If someone is like obligating you to do it, it's just not going to be your preference. So I still sort of fight it, even though I know it's good for me. Sounds like something I might go through in the future, yeah. I mean, that's like a good thing though, right? Well, you have to stay with the book that sugar. Okay, so we're doing sort of things in a couple of phases. We're gonna do the effect of the blue light on the lighter phase, or of the lighter colors of the Manhandla, and then we'll do the effect of the blue light on the darker section of the Manhandla. And each one of these sections, like the head and the tentacles and the body and this head, those are all on separate layers, so it's gonna be like a bit of a process. You've never seen those creatures before? These, you mean the stuff that I'm drawing? These are the, here I have, we have, this is the a sketch I did of the reference game art. And the Manhandla, and this is like sort of why this project is super important to me, is these are original Zelda 1 bad guys that here, this is it. This guy. I mean, it's not a perfect picture, but essentially it's like a four-headed plant demon. Looks almost parasitic. I mean, I kind of amped it to like a...
Let's go to a low one.
I mean, I dig that. But it definitely is a... I'm sort of like treating these as like growing root hairs or whatever. I don't know. To me, well, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, am I actually doing good here? I'm not sure if I might have miscalculated. Hopefully, by the time this is done, it looks terrifying and and Zelda-ish, but also sort of like, you know, feels fresh and new because you don't see a lot of art about the Manhandla. You're playing. Oh, you're the boss? Okay, Robbie. Yeah, it's unlike the other, I don't know, more popular Zelda bad guys. It looks like at one point it was brought back in. This is some sort of render from Hyrule Warriors. I never played that one, but similar kind of thing. Yeah, it sort of has this. Oh, that's funny because I remember making comparisons. Like it's like an artichoke. And it kind of has these sort of spiky, bractish, peelable piranha. It's got piranha-ness to it. I think I'm selling a lot of that stuff. I just wanted to add a lot of saliva. I wanted to make it look as creepy as possible.
Let's play one down here. Play.
So as I add the blue light to the scene, to the Manhandla, it's going to look more integrated into the scene, especially like with Link in the surface that he's standing on, because I lit those last time. Let's see here. There's the body. Okay, here we are. There's a lot of detail. Like, I'm not going to get away with like being kind of cavalier about some of these details. Like, they need a lot of really intricate treatment in order to really sell it. So yeah, this one I'll be working on this one for a while, I think. Let's select out some of these. similar deal. Just a little tap application of the light hitting from the direction, essentially just coming from right behind camera. And then in here, small moments of striations, just some detail that we can pull out, give it some texture to the light. Nothing too crazy. Doesn't have to be perfect. That can find ways to make it better later. It's about broad strokes right now. Now we'll do the one. We can probably select all. Oops. Select all the white parts, just knock them all out at once. There's essentially going to be two sources of light. The ambient blue, it's like I always do it, where I've been overly reliant on it, I'm sure, but story-wise it makes sense here. He's in a dungeon, but there's openings up above, and in one of the openings it's exposed to the ambient blue light of the sky. And then over here, this will be cool. This is going to be a shaft of warm, bright sunlight, direct sunlight coming in and hitting the dunes, like this sort of, ancient looking sand that's collected on the floor. And it's going to kick up all this great, just think of it as like Indiana Jones type archaeological sort of atmosphere and color, just like the rich red color of reflected sand. That was a really fun thing. It's like my wife wouldn't let me draw for good reason, but she couldn't stop me from thinking and analyzing the light that was all around in Hawaii. It being later in the year, the sun was actually decently low to the sky, relatively speaking, for Hawaii. And so it wasn't just like straight overhead. There was a lot of directionality to it, and the hotel compound had buildings facing all sorts of different directions. They were all sort of, they were natural colors, but the colors of the building would reflect. So essentially there was light just hitting everywhere. Light coming from all around, brilliant blue skies lighting everywhere else. So, and then the trees would be super thick with thick leaves, but they would filter, moments of filtering through with the sun passing through the green stuff. Yeah, it was really cool. It was given the way I'm thinking about color and light these days, it was sort of a feast for the eyes, for the imagination. Just sort of thinking, I was like, okay, if I was going to do that from scratch, what would I do? But here I would notice it's really picking up the bounced light of this object that's nearby. That's very interesting. So I'm going to try and think about that. The bounced light off the sand in the background is going to be illuminating all sorts of stuff in the scene. You got to make sure, you know, if you can account for all that, it makes it look real, or, you know, makes it look like you sort of know what you're doing, or making decisions that feel impressive, right? Okay, here's the dead heads. Okay. Oh, what'd I do? Oh, I used the wrong color. Okay. Interesting. Did I make a mistake or something? That should be the color. I did something different yesterday. I saw that is it Krita or Krita? Or Krita. The open source drawing program. No, that's not the one. Okay, so Krita is free, so you can just download it. So I'm gonna start experimenting with that, because I need to make some sort of stand or statement about Photoshop, because I don't like that company, and also this program that I'm using, Painter, it's just basically, I don't know, the last version that I'm using right now came out in 2000. Painter 2023 came out in 2022, and they've gone like 2 years without updating it in any meaningful way. So I think I just have to be like realistic. There may not be much of a future left with this program. Unfortunately, it's not my fault. You know, that's on them. Just happened. Here we go. Okay, I didn't make a mistake. I'm colorblind and I can't tell what if there's a difference between one color and the next. Anyway, so I probably won't do it much on stream necessarily, except in, especially with the coloring work, because I've got sort of my process down. But if I do more sketches, I might try doing those in Krita or Clip Studio Pro. Clip Studio Pro ran a sale like yesterday or today. Is that still happening? Let's see here. Here it is. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know if it's like specifically a Black Friday sale, but Clip Studio Pro, this is what I bought, was the, it's like $54 for like a perpetual license. It felt like a good deal. It's the cheapest price I'd seen. As far as like non-Photoshop alternatives for the type of drawing and work that I do, felt like something at least good insurance to have a backup plan with. Okay, so now I'm going to select into the darker blue color, or maybe it's like a purple color. We'll figure out what color it is, and then we'll calculate the color it needs to be to give the effect of being hit with blue light. Okay, hide. Turn that off, come back here. Okay. Magic time. Okay, so this is our base relationship color. Adding equal amounts of color overall, which is the effect of like a little bit of white light, and then the same amount again of blue light should give us our ambient blue color. Basically like that, maybe not as much. That's the effect. Looks about right. So awesome, like just the way that sense of a gradient in there, that really helps it. Ooh. Just got to try to remember to save a new version so I'm not just constantly overwriting the same files. So funny because it's like I know I need to work, but the notes haven't come in yet today, and I'm like, I just hope they take forever because I don't want to do anything else. This is interesting. Why is this so dark? Okay, let's get, because it's like, it's funny, but it matters a lot. We need the blue light effect on the tongue. It's like super important. I've learned that it's super important, or else it just looks weird. So that's our tongue. Add the same amount of white light that we did to all the other surfaces, and then the same amount of blue light that we did to the other surfaces. And something like this. Now the application matters, especially with about something that is supposed to be like slimy. So we're going to come back in later and really like nail the highlights. But that's a good start. And interestingly, even here, where it's sort of like the dark part of the mouth, like that's dark, but it's not a void. There is going to be some surface there to reflect some light. Especially from this angle. Okay, it's a very dark color. But adding the same amount of light. I mean, it wouldn't really be the same, but it's helpful to just think about it as the same. Okay, so that's too much like that, but theoretically there should be some sort of correct amount, even if it's just like a touch, just like that. Some like non-zero non-zero amount of light or darkness or something. funny. It makes a difference. It really does. All right. Next up, logically speaking, we do the sand. So some of my decisions were a little questionable. I mean, it makes sense. There's no real background to the drawing. It's all just sand. So I have the background fill as the sand color. I don't know if that's the best way to do things, but I think it's okay. It's the same formula. Add equal proportions, each one, to make white, a little bit of white light, and then same amount of blue, and then this should basically be right. Okay, so that feels like it's the right color. Now we just need the distribution to be. Because it's interesting, if the light is coming from behind camera, it's not going to hit everywhere necessarily equally. This may not be the best time to put it in, but it's really tricky because sand is shiny, you know? At least this kind of sand, it's like fine sand. It gets moved around really easy. Builds up in these dunes, big and small. So the materiality of it is very you have to think about it. But we'll concentrate most of the effect of the blue light here. Just sort of in this area. There will be some effect over here, but we'll minimize that. Won't be as needed. It's weird, I don't want it to be too even. We can go in, find that original color, painting that back in, sort of like the shadow side. Let's reapply a little bit. Something more broad. There you go. Now it's starting to feel now, with that background being lit, that the whole scene is more integrated, right? And now it's clear where things need to still be changed, like over here, this statue, and over here, this little bit of architecture. Once those are integrated, it's going to feel like the scene is lit. Well, it's lit with one source, and then we continue on, do more. Okay, so let's see here. Statue over here. I guess this is, like, what color even is this? You guys can see better than I can. I'm gonna guess it's like a green, like a super dark green. Okay, so I was right. This is like a, well, I mean, over here is orange, so whatever, it's like a super dark seafoam green, teal color. Like, to me, this looks like right here, this is like white. So that's, what kind of color is that? That doesn't make sense. But again, this is like fantasy color, right? Okay. Same formula. A little bit of white overall, and then some extra blue. This should look cool, because it's going to feel like it's like putting a puzzle piece where it needed to go. If I do this right. Feels about right. This statue is from the series. Let's see here. Yeah. So if we pull these over, okay. So this statue here is the same statue as the one that is in here. Shit. Okay, so this statue here, breathing fire and looking crazy, is the same statue as this one. Do a little comparison. So this one here is this statue. It's got the mohawk, it's got the eyeballs and the fish mouth and the fangs and whatnot. But there was another statue. There's this statue. It's super tiny here. Can I make this big? Yeah. So this statue design, it looks like a dragon. It's got wings. Here it is, yeah. Balding, dopey cyclops? No, it is a scary dragon, flying serpent, or griffin, which is correct. And that's what this is. It's sort of like a little hard to see, but it's on its side, so it's like a ruined statue, but there it is. don't want it too bright. But essentially, it's supposed to look like it's got the same effect of light as everything else in the scene. It's too bright. These statues are like Easter eggs. They have the potential to be more interesting than I want them to be. Okay, because this statue color and the color of these architectural stuffs are the same, then that means that it's going to have the same effect of the light. So we can reuse the same color over here as well. Now the geometry is different, so it's sort of going to light up at different angles. We're being pretty broad with it. We're not trying to nail it all in one go necessarily. So that's pretty cool. Now we have a fun moment to consider the crossroads. What I think I'd rather do is, because like next up, and it's not anywhere close like I've nailed the blue lighting yet. I think something that feels like refining it or just mindlessly adding detail would be fun right now. Because the scene right now looks cool and integrated, and because I don't know how the rest of my day is going to shape out, I think it makes the most sense to do stuff that feels like fun, like adding highlights to the saliva and other little minor details that sort of make it feel like we're nailing the blue light a little bit more in areas that will be especially hit by it. And it feels easier than anything else. Then again, what would it be? Could be like a, you know, okay, just by means of quickly getting a like if I were to do one stroke that sort of gave a sense of what was to come, it would be kind of like that. This will be kind of where, yeah, not over there. It's interesting. It's going to be the shaft of light hitting the sand, not hitting Link directly, but it will fill this, the bounce and the spill light will fill the room in a way that will look really cool. We'll get a fun silhouette on Link. There'll be atmosphere. There'll be all sorts of stuff. Because it's like, you know, just the battle in the sand is going to kick up dust, right? That's to come later. might do a potty break in a minute, but so far so good. See if I can rally more troops to my momentary. Oh, you know what? If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna go potty first. Okay. I'm gonna do a really quick potty break. I'll be right back. Ooh, I don't have a be right back one for this yet. For this setup. All right, well, just take my word for it. I'll be right back. I have returned. I have returned. Oop, okay, so this will be fun to just get in there. This thing looked fucking gross as hell. Now I'm going to do something I should have done at the beginning, which is check some of my system settings. Okay, they all look normal. Always happens when I come back from a little bit of a time away from drawing is that the I don't know, like my fingers like get under tension, or maybe they're too relaxed. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but the I'm in danger of pressing down too hard with my strokes. You know, don't want it too hard or too soft. It should be just right. This is sort of interesting. Is there any fill right there to that? Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to the, there it is. Okay. It's like they never got colored for some reason. Okay. There we go. Might be better to start with a link. It's less fun, but it'll be simpler. Okay, so all I'm really gonna do is, you know, we can see how the color progresses. And now we'll just take that a little bit further. A little bit brighter overall, and then a little bit more blue. So not the same, not the exact same formula as before, but like a lesser degree of it. What is this? It's interesting. Sorry, I'm just laughing at myself. Like I step away from my systems, I come back and it's like, like I came back from vacation and got into my car and I was like, who put my seat like so far forward or back or reclined, or it's like that. You become like a different person upon return, and it all feels foreign. But here you can see these subtle effects of here, let's save out a new version. The subtle effects of going in and with a slightly more highlighted version of the color, finding little targets of opportunity to just sort of bring them out more to show the form. And it's almost like it's really about the tiny, tiny opportunities. It's like something to do with, like you don't want to over season your food, or restraint is key. That's why God invented the undo button, right? Because it's easy to go too far. Still want it to be a little bit grounded in reality. The whole thing can't be a highlight. If everything is special, then nothing is special. Yay, cool tracks. The same color, so we can use the same color of light here on his boots as well. Again, you have to be sparing. It's not going to be like, it can't just be like that. Just where it makes sense. badly placed highlight can totally make or break up the appearance of a form. And we don't want it to be drawing attention to something that doesn't need attention, right? Realistic or not, if it throws off the balance of the composition, it wouldn't be worth it, right? But here, anything that can help him feel like his feet are firmly planted. It's probably worth it. Looks like I never really colored up this bit of the arrow. Do that now. It's imperfect, but it's something. Link's tunic, not the tunic, well, let's do the green one. Is it shiny like leather? Like fresh leather? I mean, no, it isn't, but we can still get something in there. For the tiny parts that might actually benefit. Right? Did I do that right? Here. Has to be some effect of the gradient. Like a hierarchy. It can be super subtle. That's the strength of it. It's like the more subtle, the more realistic the effect somehow. Here on his sort of pants and shirt. A little bit brighter, a little bit bluer. Very selective places. feel like it's helping the tension. His skin is definitely allowed to have some oil and some sweat, some dirt. That stuff can make such a big difference. Even sparingly. Okay, it looks like client notes are starting to come in, so I'm gonna wind this down. For its own sake, I think. Quick save there. So here we can see the subtle difference those tiny highlights can make. Let's go back in. There's still some opportunities here. Clients in London sending notes at 1:45 p.m. my time. What do I do? Starting like an 8-hour day in the middle of the afternoon. That's all right. This worked out great. I was happy to get some time in on this. They're fine clients. This bow is definitely under tension and sort of a refined structure. What is that? Is that his fingers? Yeah, that's not. I need this to be the right color. This just looks way too much like the width of a finger. What's happening here? Maybe they were fingers. I don't know. Something to be sorted out. The bow has to sort of get gripped with both pads of the hand. I feel like that's a bit better, but this needs to be quality controlled. A little bit better than I've done. We'll do some highlights on this this structure he's standing on. That'll help a lot too. A lot of indication of tension happening here. Crazy, but such a subtle thing. Really helps bring out the form and the texture. and sells like the effect of the light a little bit. It's like when you might have seen on Instagram. I mean, especially if you like are like into art, the algorithm will have inevitably fed you a reel or a TikTok of like, here's my painting before I glaze it, and then like they apply the varnish or the the mineral spirits, the things that basically seal a painting and really give it that juicy shininess. It's like the difference between paint on a car and then like the clear coat, like the acrylic nail polish shine, you know, or like normal chapped lips, and then you apply some lip gloss, right? Like it kind of needs it. It's so thirsty for it. Set off some of these cracks here too. So I want that to be a little bit of a theme, like the fracturing and the forking and the splintering of the root hairs. Something like texture and tension will play a big part in this piece. Needs even more. It's a nearly white color to the to this section of the body, so like the brightness really does have to come through in the highlights. ultimately this thing is going to feel equal parts sharp and slimy. Ugh, there's horrible sound coming from my computer monitor. Ugh, it sounds so bad. It just like feels like it's gonna die. I'm drawing right now on a Mobile Studio Pro, I think 2017. It's a like a portable Wacom computer. It's just really showing its age these days. It's not hiding the fact that it's probably choked with dust and crap from trying to keep itself cool in a house with 2 cats. Okay, highlights on the tongue. Same deal. Okay, finally. Same formula for the highlights for the darker part of the color. Applied wherever it makes sense. hate this stupid camera. It just looks really weird. It throws my whole face into it's like I don't know what it is. Apple, they can't put a decent camera as a webcam. All right, let's see here. Okay, that's looking good for now. Okay, this will be tricky to get right, but let me experiment a little bit. I'm calling them the tendrils, but these sort of like flagellating root hairs or whatever. It'll be good if individually they sort of look weak and fragile, but like en masse they can tear apart a giant rock of stone. It's kind of the goal. Link here in the foreground. Holding tension, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Thinking that the mouth interior, the dark void, that might do better a little bit more flesh colored. Hopefully that feels a little bit more appropriate. I need a little bit more. I know I'm supposed to be working right now, but I want to concentrate a little bit more on this. It feels like I'm having more fun getting to this point in the art where it feels like, once it feels like the scene is beginning to sort of feel integrated and lit, that's when it becomes fun. It becomes easier to see what needs to happen next. It's easier overall to make judgments about what is and what isn't working. It starts to take over. Do a quick email check-in because getting some notifications. I need to... It's okay, that's good. And let's see here. And this other thing is time sensitive, but it's time sensitive before the end of the year, not time sensitive before the end of the day. Okay, I'm going to keep going with this for a little bit. Squirrel Reaper, hey yo. Sorry, I was just doing a little quick email check-in. This isn't quite a bonus stream. A bonus stream would be when I would be being paid to do this when I should be being paid to do other things, but the client would be at a fault for their end. In this case, I am booked today, and I did just get my assignment, but the client is in is in England. That is several hours ahead of me. They are going to bed right now. They are not expecting anything anytime soon. And they understand it's sort of a holiday week here for me, so they don't seem to be too outrageously concerned about having a quick turnaround. So I'm going to mess around with this for a little bit longer, because I've been away and not working on this, and I'm feeling it, feeling the pain from being away. Feeling the rust. Coagulations and the congealments. And I'm tired. Still jet lagged. This is gonna be hell, doing all these little details. Somewhere there will be a happy medium. It can't just be a bunch of lines. It will be about texture, a lot of texture. Or maybe on some of them I'll paint in the lines with different colors to get what it needs to be. How you been? It's not really been that long. We were in Hawaii for a few days celebrating some stuff, but it just sort of like, it feels like it's been months. It feels like it's been a long time since since I streamed or worked on this, and it was I don't know if you saw the finished Wallmaster. This is probably the closest I can get to it, but this is the finished version. This ended up looking cool and was well received, but I didn't. I posted this right before we went to Hawaii, and now I'm back to this. I'm making quick progress, but so let's see here. Save, and then yeah. So here we are. And this will look really cool, but the amount of fine tuning and detailing that'll have to go into the sort of the tendrils, that's going to be a little bit of a departure from where I would normally. Yeah, Hawaii was a lot of fun. I'm not at ease. Maybe it's like PTSD or something like that, but I don't feel relaxed stepping away from work. That feels like it's dangerous. My wife is a, she's a professional. She's like she's not really salaried, but she's approximately salaried, and and has a healthy work-life balance, so to speak. And I don't. And so while I was enjoying having fun during time off, it's like I understand that it comes with a price. It's like there are projects that might have needed me that couldn't get me, so they have to find a substitute. Anytime that happens, that sort of puts me at a disadvantage or a risk of being replaced, and it's not, it's hard to sleep great when that's happening. At the same time, even got some commissions. I just doubled my price to a client and she accepted it. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's the best feeling. So that felt good, even though the double price was still low. I feel you there. I'm happy I doubled it and made a step towards pricing more fairly for myself. I think that is just amazing sounding. I'm glad you did that. Been doing this 20 years. I still undercharge for what it is. But for me, I'd rather be sort of undercharging, but knowing that I'm having a lot of steady work. There are plenty of pricing strategies. Why not take an iPad or maybe a laptop for travel? I have those things. So in this case with my wife, there was a, we were celebrating my daughter being 5 years cancer-free, for instance, and that's like a huge milestone. So that means she's in survivorship. That means the ordeal is, feeling a little bit more behind us, and it was something really worth celebrating and being present for. So my wife appreciates it when I can set aside work and really focus on being present in the moment, because she knows that's difficult for me. She sees that, she understands that is a sacrifice, and it was needed to be made for the time being. But in the meantime, it builds up all this tension in my head where I'm like, I need to get back and work, and so that I can, not lose a bunch of ground or feel like I'm falling behind on stuff. Also, it feels like this project feels like it's getting a little bit of traction. When I post stuff online, people like it. I feel like I'm satisfied with the output of the work and the quality, and it's sort of gaining steam. Something that I enjoy doing and want to keep doing it. So, so I missed it, Yeah, that's it. Like, my wife knows that I can be happier than a pig in shit just rolling around and, sketching and drawing shit. So for her, like, that's not a sacrifice. That doesn't qualify as making time for family to be bringing along work. And there are times when it's like, okay, well, you have to make exceptions or whatever. But this was sort of a different thing. It felt like this was these are milestones that are important. It was also sort of our wedding anniversary and my son's birthday. So it was so many different things sort of going on. It really made sense to like be like, okay, let's unplug a bit and go sit by the beach and pretend like we don't have any problems. It took a long time to get here, so let's just do it. But yeah, we did Hawaii right. We were in like a fancy resort in Waikiki. It's like, this is one of the most expensive areas on the planet practically. And we lived it up. It was great. They went. I didn't go shark diving, but it made it like when you like what are the things that you would seem like, okay, well, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense. It's like, it makes sense. It makes sense to be like, okay, there are some things that are just so important. You just have to unplug and celebrate and be in the moment. And then, but that moment, it was past. That's yesterday now. It's a side effect, as a side effect of life, all of a sudden feeling like it's long again. Sometimes life feels like it's short and you act accordingly and you live every day to its fullest and, don't care about, if this is interesting stuff. It's like, what's the best way to live life? And it kind of depends on what's going on, because if you think you only have 1 year left to live, for instance, you make drastically different kind of judgments, value judgments, and decisions about stuff. To the same extent, it's like, what do you have to lose? Like, if you have a lot to lose, you have to be careful about the decisions you make. You can't just gamble everything. If you have nothing left to lose, it's like getting set back to zero is not that hard of a fall. You're practically there already. Might as well YOLO. You only live once on a gamble or whatever, or whatever. So it made sense to celebrate exiting the. It's just sort of what we're doing is, with what happened to my daughter, with that medical stuff, we were for a long time living as if life was short. We had to sort of find a balance because it's like life is potentially short, but we also need to not be completely irresponsible. That's like a fine art. Like, how do you do that? But we did a good job of doing that. And we got lucky. We got really lucky, really fortunate. So. Yeah. We made a lot of fun memories, took a lot of pictures. We even had some friends that were able to join us, which is kind of crazy, but worked out. They knew it would be fun to come along and, whatever, spend their miles, whatever. Weird things that the art to living. Yeah, exactly. There's like examples of people that focus so much on work, but then, one day you get hit by a bus and that's it, We are in uncharted territory right now with this music. I don't know where we're at on this playlist, but I'm going to switch it up. Alright. I don't know if everybody's a fan of the Sonic and Chill, but I still dig it. And I need to sort of resummon the mojo. It's a little bit imperfect process-wise, but here it's going to make a big difference if I can do this. I want a stronger sense of overlap here, where like a little bit of a shadow is getting cast in between these sections of teeth. A little bit here, and then like more here, and then by the time it like gets down here, feels like it's much more separated. Yeah, that's awesome. That's better. I'm glad you got that commission and got your little pay bump. Do you price out by the hour or by the piece? I've always had like a kind of mixed strategy. It's tricky because like some pieces or some projects don't necessarily translate well to hourly stuff, and the concept of paying by the hour can be a little bit frightening to clients if you've never worked with them before, or it's like they don't necessarily fully trust you yet. By the piece, I think it always made sense to me to do it sort of by the piece, because there was like an understanding that if I got it done, if it's priced out by the piece and I do a piece really quickly, you can make good money. It says verbally charged by the piece, though a proper price would be more like 2 times what you charge. I always thought about it as I think this applies to you too, is you learn so much by taking on those early commissions. Teach you so much that it is almost like getting paid to go to school, even if you're charging like half what it would be like worth. Like, what's it worth, right? But like unless you really like know what you're doing, like shouldn't you factor that in? Like, are you it's like the normal going rate would be this, but it's like, is that the rate of a person with like tons of experience in commissions, or is it the rate of someone who's learning, right? You learn so much by and it's also about incentives too. So it's like if you were charging like by the hour, and I know nobody really does commissions like by the hour. Yeah, good point. It's like getting paid to go to sales school. Yeah, the getting paid to have a sales role play buddy. Exactly. It always just helped me to like frame it that way, being like, okay, well, I'm not paying to go to school and I'm learning a lot more than I would. And again, it's like you're self-teaching, but you're it's like earning money and learning at the same time is like a double whammy of incentives. So it really was something that, like, it was so funny because, like, there were rare moments where I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna try to go to school or whatever, so I'd be like paying money to try to learn something, but the incentives were so weird that, like, it was difficult for me to pay attention to what I needed to be learning, and I would just get distracted by my own stuff again. So even if undercharging or whatever, you know, you think about it as the opportunity to learn and earn some money at the same time. It's a good deal. Anyway, I'm glad you finding, you know, you want to find that sweet spot, you know. I think and eventually the goal is, like, you're so busy that you start pricing so that people just sort of go away. You're like, ah, God, I don't want this job. Here's 3 times what I would normally charge, and then they still want you, and then you're like, oh, I guess it's worth it. Do like how you framed it. I want to have a passive income stream, so after payment plans, doing $30 for 15 months. So I like that. I will have that coming for a while. So interesting. So $30 per month for 15 months. Is that what that means? That's like a, it feels like a Patreon kind of, and it gives her an opportunity to actually pay the commission. Ah, I like that. Oh, it's like a overtime payment. Ah. So it's not like subscribing to it. It's just a, it's like some of it's on credit, essentially. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you have to meet the audience where they are. Well, I'm jealous. I need to. It's not that I need. Right now, I'm focusing on this, but the idea is that I'd like to supplement a bit with commissioning, getting commissions again. I used to kind of do that before that was a thing. Yeah, without interest. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I like hearing about this stuff. There's lots of different strategies in business.
Dad, do you want to talk about Taco? Dad, I mean, Mom, Papa said that we can go to Del Taco.
Oh, you guys are gonna go to Del Taco. That's
Do
great.
you want to get a taco?
I don't need one, but you can get one if you want to for yourself.
I don't like tacos.
Oh, okay, all right. Hear about an idea that's even more enticing. I'll try it with new customers. So I charge $600, but if they don't want to pay up front, then it will be $800 divided over monthly payments. Yeah, and they'll sort of understand that is you know, the cost of credit essentially. And yeah, that's great. Okay, so now let me actually do that. Yeah, keep doing. So let's see here. So 30 times 15. So this feels like good money right here. 30 times 15 is $450. Okay, so that's for like a piece. That's great. This was like 20 years ago, but I used to charge, like, if I was going to do like a character design or even like a simple color illustration, would have been like $150, 150, maybe $200. Or if like a person had like a lot of them that they needed, I could do even less. But of course, you know, I would do them quickly and they weren't necessarily very good, but okay, yeah, this is good. Like if it's repeat customer too, you know, this sounds good. I'm glad you're doing this. It's so And this was the other way I thought about it too. Yeah, because this is important too. Because every piece that you get that is a successful like commission. See, it makes sense. And like even big businesses do this, where like, the person, the performer at the Super Bowl, for instance, gets paid nothing. They don't pay like Beyonce for performing at the Super Bowl because it's such great exposure and advertising for the performer. Likewise, like, do you know what they pay to be on the cover of Cosmopolitan magazine? Zero, because it's such a big or Vanity Fair, maybe it's that one, but that's such an opportunity for someone's career that, like, if anything, you would want to pay to be on the cover. Constantly check the tables. Yeah, this is good stuff. You can sort of milk those opportunities. Hold on, I'm going to shut my door real quick. So having like finished good commissions, it is really like that, because it's like you can use those, the output of them, to advertise yourself, and then just whatever. The next person gets a little bit more of a pay bump. Hi, Kiki.
So what? I'm gonna make a poop.
You're gonna. Okay, I will help you when you're ready. I'm listening for you. Okay, you just let me know. I will help you. Yeah, so those early opportunities are to be seized, recognized, and seized. It's win-win-win, and that's what business is. I really have there are approaches to this stuff that like I get it I get where other artists come from with some of this stuff, because it's like, we all have our different experiences, but a lot of the discourse when I talk to other artists seems to be about like, oh, my client is trying to screw me or whatever, or like I'm gonna take advantage of this person, I'm gonna charge them as much as I can, hey, check it out, I scored this. And it's like, I get it. It is good to it's good to get paid what you're worth, obviously. Like, that is important. Hey, Talbot, what's up? But it's also like a mentality where, like, you have to understand that, like, your relationship with your client is like, what's good for your client is good for you, or at least it should be that way. If it isn't being that way, it's like, okay, there's something wrong with the dynamic that should be addressed. But like, your customer being satisfied isn't something that comes at the expense of you. It's like, it's a mutual thing that you work out together. So have good communication, and you don't have to have these sorts of like, I don't know, these people are not your employers, they're your clients. You have to think of them that way. You need to be about customer service, and like, you're the professional. If there's a or at least you're supposed to act like one. So if there's a problem or miscommunication, that's on you, buddy. Like, you needed to see that coming and sort it out before it happened. I don't know. Another day, another dollar. Waiting for cash from my beta readers. Okay. Lack of communication kills me when working with artists. Yeah, it's not a it's a real endemic problem, and and this is where I sort of it's like, I get the appeal of, like, this. I always felt it was sort of interesting that like when I started out, I expected there to be, you know, a ton of headwinds. I was like, okay, Kiki, here I come. Hold on, I just need 3 seconds to help intervene on something. I just always sort of expected there to be, I'm like, oh, I'm a new guy getting into trying to be a professional in a field I'm not very experienced with, but just sort of being willing to like talk with clients like a little bit more honestly and openly, and being like, okay, well, you know, I can't promise this, but I can promise that, or whatever. It's like the standard for being a good communicator as an artist is so low that that it was sort of really easy to sort of set myself apart by you know, just having like basic communication skills and honesty, and like not taking on more work than I could handle, you know, was such a big deal. All right, let's see, what does this say? Scroll Reaper says, yeah, I've asked my client if she's cool with no updates for a week so I can work on a portfolio piece, studio hiring soon. Yeah, things like that. Been really open with communications. Yes. An artist who I needed time to do projects. I told them as long as they were healthy and working, I don't care. As long as it takes, you're not taking advantage of me. Worked out great until they ghosted me and I had to do a PayPal refund. I don't like the, what happens is that like these interactions become sort of like the typical sort of like artist experience, and then like what ends up coming around is that like the and you know, not every client is like a great client necessarily, but it feels weird to like why would you like ghost a client? Like if it's not going to work out, be like, hey, sorry, it's not working out, you know. But like, I don't know, like it's just obvious that there's a lot of anxiety or bad communication happening. The server mentality comes in, make sure the food is getting appetizers. Yeah, exactly. It's just basic customer service. Like if something is going to be delayed, like let them know. Like when you want to know, just treat them like you want to be treated yourself, you know. Never bring the meal to the table is the worst possible thing. I would just want, like I would want clients to communicate with me if something had happened. It's just professional, you know. Not to be ridiculous. Bust a cap. I end up finding someone who I can stick with for like 99% of their house, and I just adore them and become a partner in the creative space. Good. Like once you know, like, and that's like the potential for like people who have good and bad experiences with artists know that like having like a go-to person is like the thing. So all you really need as an artist is like a couple of chances to become like a go-to artist, and then you can make a client for life at that point, you know. They'd be just like a patron. It's easier to dodge and then say, sorry, I messed up, here's your refund, but it builds so much character to just talk it out, especially the hard conversations. So I always did it this way, where I would like for me, like I draw fast, so, and especially like if it's just like a black and white rough sketch, like that can be just like 30 minutes of work sometime. And I'm like, 30 minutes of work is always worth something, but it isn't worth so much that I can't afford to lose it, right? I'm like, okay, it's like, so no matter what, like if someone wanted to try me out on a project, this was like 20 years ago when I first started out, but you know, if someone had, you know, say they had $200 in their budget for like a piece of, for like a finished piece, and sometimes these would be colored, and I wasn't like doing this kind of skilled work, but I had some decent abilities, and they'd be like, oh, I need like this character. I'd be like, okay, here's a free rough sketch. If this looks like it's on the right track and it gives you good vibes and you feel like feels like this is something where it's like you want to see what it could progress to, then pay me half. And if you don't think this is worth pursuing, then, you know, don't worry about it. You know, the rough sketch is as far as it'll get, and we can go our separate ways. And that always helped to, you know, because it's like half the people who are commissioning this stuff are, well, I mean, it feels like today people are just commissioning stuff for fun. Back in the day, they were trying to get, you know, creative elements together for a pitch or whatever. Let's see here. That was the thing for the first person. They went from being open to other people's works to just working for me, and I'd gotten about 20 or so pieces over 2 years from them, so it wasn't light work. Yeah, that's reasonable. Sucks, but gives that reassurance. Yeah, it wouldn't, I wouldn't be harmed if I did a rough sketch and client ghosted me after that. I'm like, okay, well, you know, didn't work out. And it's like, I don't want to be on a project if it's not a good fit, right? It's not a good fit for me, not a good fit for the client. So, you know, lesson learned, bullet dodged. And it was, you know, every piece of work, attempted or failed or not, you can learn something from. So no matter what happened, it was all valuable. Anyway, it was just sort of important. I don't know, maybe it's like a little bit of like imposter syndrome, but it wasn't, it was always from the beginning something where I was like, I don't necessarily feel like I deserve, you know, top dollar for what I'm doing. So I'm going to sort of price accordingly, and not coming into every business situation with a huge sense of entitlement helped a lot in terms of like, I don't know, nobody wants to work with an entitled diva. It just, nobody wants to do that. Yeah, show us the commission. Hold on, I'm going to shut the door again. Do you have it finished? Is it, or is it in progress? I promise I will only... Pretty up so far. Gothic romance-esque cover. Very cool. Show me the whip. Show me the whip. I'll heap praise on it. Here we go. We all know I love to live dangerously by clicking. Oh, this looks great. Yeah. Hold on, I'm this looks good. This is smoldering. A lot of sex appeal in here. Let me zoom in a bit. I'm still getting adjusted to the yeah. I would do I would get this hand in the coat. Slight adjustment. Hand in the within there. Yeah. little tiny things to get fixed, but these faces are looking really good. Fun. It's like I don't know. Obviously, okay. So that's like a rosary or something, right? It's got like a cross. He's like a preacher guy, world's studliest preacher. Debating back and forth. I think it's super important to, like, when you find yourself like, should it be this way or that way? It's like, if it can be if it's like arbitrary or whatever, make it not arbitrary. So like really commit to it is what I'd say. Don't try to have it to be two ways at once. Like it's like, if something is going to overlap, make it really overlap. Make it really clear. So this is like title space, right? What do you have plans for, like, over here? Obviously, it's kind of like a void right now. There doesn't necessarily need to be anything here, but I'm just curious. Thinking a road, yeah. There's some subtle. Let's see here. It looks like you've got all the vanishing points sort of converging here. If there were, let's see here. And a huge dust storm. Okay, I was wondering if these were like clouds, but yeah, that'll be cool. This is kind of like giving off like Western vibes. It's pretty cool. Backwater town with like a diner, etc. Huh. I mean, like, could there be a even just like a, I'm just spitballing, but like a broken wagon wheel, or just relic of a bygone era. It's interesting. The idea was they are on the right, just leaving the town, but the dust storm is pushing them back. Went for the town. Interesting. Experiment with different things. I don't know. Yeah. It's like evokes like a Western. Oh, possibly cheesy, possibly too cheesy. I don't really know about like cheesy, but like if it looked like there was like an old well, like something you would see in like an old Pueblo village or something like that. A wagon wheel, an old well that has you know, like dried up well or something like that. And then a tumbleweed. It's giving me very like Western vibes. I think that's, I don't know if that's all appropriate, but the it's got like Red Dead Redemption kind of vibes, you know. that. It's weird. This isn't the right design, but... And, like, is this a church? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all the vibes are there. It's got... Just want the church in the frame in some way. It's there. It's a little close to the crop of the I don't know, like the bleed. I don't really know what it's called. I'm not great at click on this. I'm not great at yeah. Okay, so this is great. Okay, speaks to specifically the era as well. I love there's something about the imagery of like an old scythe, right? It would be basically like the symbolism of like life and death and like mortality, essentially, like these being like the kind of symbols that people resonate with, whether or not they realize it. Maybe it's an old thresher. There are come in. Come on.
How you doing?
Good, I'm streaming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it alone.
Well, you can if you want to. What's up?
I was just going to say that your kids are having a butt fest.
A butt fest?
They're touching each other's butts.
Okay.
Robbie's, lifting up her dress and touching.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
you
I
shouldn't be
told
doing
them already,
that. Yeah.
but I just wanted you to know.
Okay, all right. We'll
I think
reinforce
it's important
the.
that maybe you give them some daddy. And she was kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, she eggs him on a bit too. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to him about it later. Children being there's something eerie about that radio tower. Yeah, the radio tower is good. What I would do is I would. No one's asking my opinion. If it was my assignment, I'd try to look for things that sort of evoke those sorts of bygone eras. Here, I'm trying to bring in something that feels like an old thresher. Cutter thresher. These types of things. There's like a circular barrel type of device that has a bunch of spikes on it that is it like a haymaker? What are these things? Like this thing. This is the fucking thing. Imagine this thing had fallen apart. And so it's just pieces of this thing that people recognize, but they don't necessarily recognize it. Right? Something that feels dangerous and evokes an era that is bygone. And this is like a mechanical version of like a scythe. You know what I mean? Like something the devil would have, or not the devil. Here's some AI art. Stable diffusion. But like the evocation, like you could have some like crows milling about on the top of the church and also flying away from the dust storm. Something like that. These sorts of things are I think, helpful to symbolism for danger. So good. They have a dangerous relationship. Exactly. She's not fair for him being a preacher. That's just the 5-minute version of where I would do, because like this all feels like it's like I hope she's responding positively to this, because it just feels really well composed, and so it just needs like basically accents, like compositional accents that don't dominate. So like whatever you're doing, like if anything, these people could be darker. I would keep it so that the values here don't get like much darker, because you would, even no matter how much these things are in light and shade, you want it to recede compared to the foreground and stuff. Tried out rule of thirds to place out everything. Okay, I mean, this looks good. I don't know, the rule of thirds stuff I find to be weird, but that's not out of like me. It's just sometimes I get a sense of like people make too much of some compositional ideas. So it's just really just about like whether or not the eye is going to the right place and getting the right feeling and stuff. I just think about it with the values. And it's like, I'm not an expert on that stuff. I'm trying to do better on my own, in my own works, about making sure that stuff works. So, all right. So that's the quick, yeah, it's just so important. Essentially here, let's go back to it for a second. Just make sure that when you're squinting at it, your eye has to go to where it wants to go, where you want it to go. You need to notice the shit that you want to notice. It may be helpful to even, like instead of like right now you've got this this grid, and the grid is good for like having a sense of like the space enough, and it feels like the proportions and the spaces are good. So this grid is like helpful, I guess, in some ways, but like this isn't an actual perspective grid. Like this square is not equal to that square, is not equal to that square in space. So it's like a general sense of like, hey, things are receding over there, but ultimately I would reduce the opacity on that, just so you don't get too tied down to it. And then maybe think of how you can it would be more interesting if there was like a sense of like elevation, like up and down. So like maybe it can be something where, and I don't mean like drastic up and down, but like maybe like a small hill here overlaps to another hill or whatever that eventually gets you to the church. Maybe there's like a little path or something that follows, and there could be a thresher somewhere, or whatever it is, the haymaker or whatever thing that could be falling apart. Or if just an old scythe, like that would still look amazing. But try to think of how, like a gradient, maybe it's dark down here and getting lighter as it goes up this way. But like lay down a gradient that sort of feels like it's pushing your eye in the right direction. And just think about how the values can sort of do it. Thinking about the values in terms of like broad strokes first. So just like a big dark to light gradient can just do so much just in and of itself. Because once you start filling that void with small things, you're like, okay, it's like rip the band-aid off, start thinking about getting in there and getting messy with it. Because something I noticed that you do is getting in there with like tiny details. It's like these eyes look practically finished kind of stuff. And those are like finishing details where it's like, I would think more about like what would be in the void first before I'd nail down stuff like that. But then again, if the client is happy with the progress with it, that's the most important thing. Anyway, move on from this section. This feels done. Yeah. Like for this, like if I took this, let me just show you something. See if this works. This will probably crash my program, so let me go save. So if you just take this and put it on top of itself and set it to overlay, and then like erase out that section, and then little dodge and burn here. And we're just trying to make the thumbnail look great, you know what I mean? You know, what if they're, you know, could you put, there could be like a crazy shadow. That could be their shadow going that way, or there could be like a, sorry. I can't help myself with this shit, sorry. Oop. But like with, just a little bit of something, because churches can be, you know, wonderful things, but they can also be evil, you know. That's more interest, it's like more interesting that like the church is evil, right? So it could have like a, what if there was a silhouette? I might bring this in. I'm not sure if you're that comfortable with like moving things. Squinting. What if it felt like, okay, yeah. You should feel the mandate to embrace the phallic shapes. No, you shouldn't necessarily, but the you know, that's half the fun. So if you had like a or a cross or something that felt like it could get set off by the sun, you know, and rays of light blasting shadows, then get some like rim light. You know, I'm not sure if he's evil or she's evil, but you could think about who could be. You know, then like source of light here gives like this thing a little bit reason to highlight. I might bring this a little bit closer like that. It is good to have it like blowing in the wind maybe, but just something that feels a little bit more. He could grip it, you know. And then she, where is it? And so now squint at this, you know. Huge difference. But you could say that was like nothing, right? I'll do a little. Right. Don't lose the now remember, it's like what I haven't done here is integrate the story element of your dust storm. I feel like that's powerful too, you know? And sort of this driving force, but you could have, you know, a sense of shade, and you know, I'm not sure if it would go well necessarily now with the stuff we've just integrated, but like, you know, something subtle that feels like, you know, rundown farm equipment could be living here, but it's like, what is it like? What's the symbolism if like something that like collects and combines hay and organizes it? What if that is, you know, overgrown by hay? It's like, what does that mean? What is it? Even if you're not even paying attention to it as a story element, it's like the contrast. What does it mean if like a church that is like sort of bright and dark at the same time, you know? What does it mean if there's a path but it's overgrown, like it's lost its way? Like, think of all that shit, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, it looks cool. Anyway. But like half of that was just the information that was already there, right? Just try to organize it a little bit. Here, take a screenshot. You can, and like seeing it work in the thumbnail. Oh, that's the other important thing. Just commit. Like she's in there with her little hand and turning into shadow, you know? You know, fuck it. She can be in there in his little belt, you know? Maybe that's too much. A little distracting. But, yeah, anyway. Anyway, take a screenshot. I saved it in case you need to, but, or you want me to send, but, I feel like this is a, something to consider. Something to consider. Because it's like, it's always compelling. Okay, you got it. All right. If it, you know, think about it in terms of like making it read impressive. Like people will zoom in on stuff and be impressed by small details, but like that isn't necessarily the best part of the story. All right. Hopefully it helps a little bit. That's what I mean, like about the thumbnail stuff. Like if you take what you saved and you zoom out, like you can still get a sense of like everything that it's trying to, all the things that you think are like really need to be really detailed in like a really big image can actually read really small if it ultimately you want to try and just make that work in like a really tiny image. And then when that's working, you can go in and you know that it'll be worth it to to add more detail into that. Like, you're not going to lose your way. Okay, that said, I need to, I think, now I'm all creatively stimulated, so I need to, I think, shift to actually getting my work done today. So I'm going to quickly save this, and we'll do a quick thumbnail. And then I will hop off to actually begin my work day. Let's see here. It's been forever since I had a shitty spam bot. Here you go. Fuck you. How do I get rid of this person? To reply. How do I... What is this button? I used to see a ban button. Where did that go? That's weird. How do I... Pin, reply. Chat settings, turn on shield mode. Alright, I don't know what to do about that, but... I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay. Nobody click on stupid spam link, and let me just quickly do a thumbnail. Okay, that looks cool. I'll just do... All right, that's good enough. Ah, okay. Thank you for giving me that. Here. Ugh, I can't ban invulnerable searchlight. Just need to remove the space. Okay, I banned them. Great. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. Hello, Jeannie. Hello, Jeannie. Thanks for popping in. I'm actually... I gotta get started on my work day. Came in at the very last possible moment, but that's all good. We had a yeah, check out my YouTube VODs. That'll be the way to catch up on what you missed. But no biggie. I'm gonna do this again in the morning or next opportunity. So we'll keep it on going. Okay. Thanks everybody for popping in, and I really appreciate the support. It's all about getting back on the horse, get back on the wagon, and I will give a good concerted effort to making this the priority of the week as opposed to earning the almighty dollar. That said, Thanksgiving is just around the corner. That'll be a distraction. So we'll see. We'll see what I can do to be consistent. But in the meanwhile, I appreciate all the support, and I'm going to catch you next time, hopefully. All right. Adios, everybody. Later.